and welcome to this week's Productivity Enhancer. Welcome back to part 2 of blocks in SolidWorks 2013, and we're just going to jump right in. So let's go ahead and take a look at another way that we can utilize blocks in assemblies. I'm just going to open up this flywheel assembly layout that I created earlier just so we didn't have to walk through the sketch process. And if we take a look at our design library, and you can see under the top level of design library, I created a folder called blocks. Now earlier I saved these 6 blocks into this folder, but we'll run through real quickly how to save blocks to the design library. Say I wanted this small wheel in this assembly, we'll just grab it and drag it. And once we accept that, then we have our small wheel right here. Now if we expand that sketch 1, you can see our small wheel right here. Now all we have to do to save a block to the design library is to right click on the block. Let's go ahead and expand it. And you can see you can add to library. When we click on add to library, we have that block right here, but we can change that name just by typing in flywheel duplicate. And you can see that blocks is selected, so that's exactly where we want it. But if you want it anywhere else, you can obviously navigate to where you want it. And of course, the file type that we want is SolidWorks blocks. So when we accept that and go back into our design library, you'll see flywheel duplicate shows up right there. So if you frequently work with common blocks, it's definitely in your best interest to save them to the design library, and that way you can just drag in and drop them, and they'll be there for you without having to create them every single time. So I'm just going to X out of that since that was not the one I wanted. But let's open the design library. Go ahead and get rid of that one. Pin it down. And now we want to drag 3 of these blocks in. We do want the flywheel. So let's go ahead and drop it right there and hit escape. We want the shaft, drop it right there, hit escape, and finally the housing. Drop it there and hit escape. So these 3 blocks that we dragged in all have the same characteristics as the blocks that we dealt with earlier. We can move them anywhere in the graphics area. And all we need to do to put these blocks together is add relations. So let's make sure that the origin and the center of that circle are coincident. We also want the bottom of the shaft to be coincident with this point here. And when we do combine them, you can see that these 2 will move in tandem now that we've added that coincident relationship. So let's continue. Let's add a coincident relationship between these 2 points. And let's arrange this a little better so we can make the last relationship that we add a little easier. And that's going to be a collinear relationship between these 2 center lines. All right, when we accept that, we can manipulate our assembly like so. And you can see our flywheel in action. Now let's say we take a look at this and we realize, oh, this housing is a little too tall. It actually engulfs the entire shaft and causes it to come apart at a certain area. So let's go ahead and fix that now. So under our sketch 1, you can see that we have those 3 blocks. Let's select the housing, and now let's explode that block. So by exploding the block, we've basically taken away any of the block characteristics, and now we're left with these 2 blocks. So now the block previously known as housing is just a regular sketch, and we can change any of these sketch entities at will. I'll just go ahead and undo that. But we do want to change the dimension right here to, let's say, 45. And let's make sure that this line and this line are exactly half of 45. And we'll make these 2 coincident again. There we go. So now that that housing is shortened, we can box select it and make another block out of it. Let's make sure we don't get the shaft in there though. There we go. So the last 2 examples we're going to take a look at involve blocks in a part file, but we don't need this one for now, so we'll just ditch that. So let's just go open up a part, and we're going to take advantage of 3 of these saved blocks that I've created. So we'll get the small wheel, just place it there, escape, and actually I'll get a better view here. There's our small wheel, get the medium wheel. Let's drag that out and maybe place it somewhere up here, hit escape. And let's go with the large wheel down here and hit escape. So now we have 3 blocks, these 3 wheels oriented in no particular order. But what we can do is select all of these entities here. And then we can go over and grab our belt chain tool, which will insert a belt or chain. And then we're given a whole cornucopia of choices about how to orient this belt with these 3 sketch items. It's very easy to toggle through all of them. We can just flip any of these directions, and you can see which direction you want the belt to go and how you want it to interact with these 3 sketch items. If you'd like to set a belt thickness, we can go ahead and set it. Let's make it a couple millimeters. If you'd like to make the dimension driving, you can. However, that takes away a lot of flexibility later on if you want to change. So we'll leave it not driving. And we want to leave the engage belt option selected. That way we'll see all of the blocks moving together when we move one or more of them. So let's accept that, and then we can grab this and you can see a little bit of the motion. The belt is winding these 2 circles as I move it. And if we take a look at that belt, you can see that it's just a sketch. It has lines and arcs. SolidWorks makes it very simple for you. So let's go ahead and get rid of this belt. So next we're going to deal with the small and the large circle here. I'm going to make sure that we select both of these, and then when we add a relation, you'll see something show up that we haven't seen before. And you can see the relations that we can add. We have a 4th called traction. And if you've never used blocks, then you've never seen this option before, because traction is an option specific to blocks. When we choose traction, you can see that it basically creates a tangency between these 2 circles. And when we click OK, when we wind this circle around, it winds this one as well. So as you can see, we can do all kinds of amazing things with blocks. It's a great way to shorten your Feature Manager design tree if it's getting too long. And it's especially great with features that you know aren't going to require a change. As we showed with the explode feature, it is able to change blocks. However, the whole point is to create less steps, and I think blocks do a pretty good job of that. So thanks for watching, and hopefully this has turned you on to using blocks in your next design. So thanks for watching this week's Productivity Enhancer. Until next time.